All right, what's up, church fam? My name is Trent Houck. I'm the youth and family pastor. As you guys probably know me from my announcement slot. I say almost the exact same thing every time when I introduce myself. So sorry, you guys know me. My job is youth and family, and you can just immediately begin to assess the needs when you see this picture and begin to see that these are real, living, breathing creatures, believe it or not, who some of them love Jesus, some of them are learning to love Jesus, but these are souls that God has entrusted our family, our church family with to care for, and so they're ours, right? And so when we start thinking about the needs in youth ministry, immediately you probably feel, I felt this way, insufficient, right? So I want to remind you of 2 Corinthians 3, which says that not that we are sufficient in ourselves to claim anything is coming from us, but our sufficiency is from God, who has made us sufficient to be ministers of a new covenant, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. And so when we think about the calling that we have to raise up these young ones in the faith, we recognize that this comes from Ephesians 6:1, that we're called to raise up these kids in the fear and admonition of the Lord. And so we've seen the same kind of growth that our local church has seen. We see 60 to 80 kids on Wednesday nights and 25 to 40 on our Sunday morning Bible studies. And so that's about half of the youth in this church. And so realistically, we haven't even begun to meet all the needs that we have in this church and bring them to Wednesday night. Just because they don't come to Wednesday night doesn't mean we don't care about them or that they don't care about us. We recognize people play things called sports and have things called like school and other things that come into contact with their lives, but we care about them deeply, and we care about that they get integrated into the local church. And so being a gospel-centered ministry, that means that we're an intergenerational ministry, that it's our job to preach the gospel to these younger students by means of real people with real faces that have bodies and limbs and schedules and are adults. And so these are my 10 to 12 leaders that show up on every Wednesday night, and they are just my battle partners. They made it through COVID with me and Zoom meetings to no end, and I'm amazed at this group of people and trust them so much. But two of them are having their second baby, which means that they don't have time for things like youth ministry, which means I'm looking at you to care for these kids. And so as you're thinking about being involved in youth ministry, the need is there, and the sufficiency is in Christ. We care about people being raised up to know Jesus, and we do that in 5 different ways: preaching and teaching the scriptures, small groups, musical worship, recreation, which is what you saw on that video, and just partnering with parents. We can grow in all of these areas together, and as you're assessing and praying right now through these needs, we would really just encourage you to think about youth ministry. So I'm going to invite